Hi, this is Lukas from Moonville, and in this video we will be covering the integration of Menu System Pro into an existing project. I will be using third-person project that comes with a character, game mode and level. I will create new classes as they are needed for this, but feel free to use your existing classes. The main point of this video will be the integration into player character, controller, game instance, game mode, and how to use your own levels with Menu System Pro. I hope you watched our quick start guide video that explains the installation process in detail, but in this video we will just quickly go over the required steps. So let's open up the plugins window and enable the JSON Blueprint Utilities plugin and the Enhanced Input plugin. Next up, let's restart the engine. And now with the plugins enabled, we can go to our Epic Games launcher and add Menu System Pro to our project. Just hit that import. And the first thing we're going to do is create a new class based on the game instance class. I'm just going to call this BP_my_game_instance. Let's open that up. And in the class settings of the game instance, let's add the interface BPI_game_instance_extension. And this adds a bunch of functions and events to our game instance. Now the yellow icon is an event and the gray icon is a function. Let's save that. And let's actually go to the Menu System Pro folder. And under Blueprints, Game Framework, we'll find all the Game Framework classes that ship with Menu System Pro. And we're just going to open up the game instance, select everything, and copy it. Now paste it into the custom game instance that you have in your project. And we're just going to go over all those grayed out variables that show up and right click, create variable. So we're going to do that for the playtime handler, the menu system config, the settings manager, and the Savegame Manager. And down here we also have all the new variables that we just created. And one thing we haven't done yet is the current playtime handler, so let's do that as well. And now all your variables and events should be in your game instance. And the last thing we have to do is make sure the functions are also implemented. So let's start down here with the settings manager. And we're just going to drag and drop the settings manager in here. Same thing for the others. Let's open the Savegame Manager and drop the Savegame Manager in here. And same thing again for the playtime. Now this one is a bit more complicated, but it's also very easy if you have our game instance as a reference. So let's open up the game instance we ship and let's copy this node over here. You get current level name. And then we're just going to copy and paste this in here and make sure this is connected, and double check the pen down here is connected as well. Compile and save that. And now our game instance should be ready to be used in our project. So let's head over to our project settings, and under maps and modes, at the very bottom we can set the game instance class. And we're going to select the game instance class we just created. Now this at the top is the game instance we ship with Menu System Pro, but we are going to use one we just created. And under Engine, Input, let's make sure the enhanced input system is used. For anyone on 5.1 or newer, this will already be set. Next up, we're going to create the player controller class. Again, use your own player controller if you already have one. I'm just going to create a new one so we can show the whole process. Up here, let's add the menu controller component. Now that we created our new player controller, we need to make sure that it is also used by our project. And in Unreal, each level has a game mode, and in the game mode you can set which player controller is used. So our third person project comes with this third person game mode, and the player controller that is set is the Unreal default one. We are going to change that to the one we just created that has our menu controller component, and save this. Another way to edit the game mode is if you go into the world settings of each of your levels. You can open up the world settings by going to the top and then Window, World Settings. Now, as we can see, the game mode that we use in this level already uses our player controller that we just set. Next up, we're going to go to the Menu System Pro folder, and under Blueprints, Core, we have the Menu System actor that we have to drop into our level. I'm going to put this into a folder, so it's nice and tidy, but that's completely optional. And if we now hit play, we can see that we can run around. Our player controller is controlling the character that is in our game. Let's open up that game mode again that we just edited. And up here, go on Open Full Blueprint Editor. And let's add a component again. This time we will select Menu System Game Mode component. Make sure you choose the correct component so everything works fine. This component will take care of some of the multiplayer features that Menu System Pro provides. Now that game mode should be ready to be used. Next up, we will have to create the menu level. This menu level is the level that is opened when the game starts. So I'm just going to duplicate our third person map from this, and let's open up that menu level. Right now it looks the same as our third person map, so let's make some quick changes so we know the difference. I'm just going to stack some cubes here. And let's get a camera in there so we have a nice view. Let's search for camera. And we can use a cine camera actor or a normal camera actor. I'm just going for the normal camera at this point. Let's get some nice view. Okay, that should be alright. Let's close this up. And if you don't want black bars on the left and right side, you have to turn off this constraint aspect ratio boolean. Next up, let's create another blueprint class, and this time we're going to choose game mode. This will be the game mode that is placed in our menu level. So as we said earlier, we have two different game modes. and 2 different levels. And in this game mode we will also add the menu system game mode component. Now this time we have to tick this is main menu boolean, so make sure to do that. Now in our menu level, let's change the game mode that is used. We're just going to go into the world settings and then game mode. Let's change it to our menu game mode. And we need to make sure the default pawn is set to none and the player controller is the one we just created. And now on our menu system actor, let's make sure that level is main menu is also ticked. And we can now also add the menu camera to our camera array. You can add more than one camera if you would like to switch between different cameras in your menu, but one will do for now. Now let's make sure that everything worked. Let's hit play. And as we see, the title screen is displayed with our level in the background. And we can already go into the options and go through our menu like we are supposed to. Now, if we were to create a new game from this menu, we would still load into the wrong level. So let's make sure that it is also fixed in the config under example content, designs, design silence, and config. Let's also make sure that the design silence folder and all files below it are renamed as we stated in the quick start guide. Let's open up the config, and all the way at the top we are going to change the menu level to our menu map that we just created. And the create new game level we're going to change to third person map. Let's hit play and see if that worked. Let's create a new game. As you can see, the loading screen is still white, but we do load into our third person map. So that part already worked. So let's make sure that loading screen is fixed as well. Let's go to back to our folder. And that white loading screen is because we don't have any metadata about our level. So we don't know what kind of loading screen or text we have to display when loading into it. So let's create a new level metadata file. We can do this by going to miscellaneous, selecting data asset, and then as class we're going to search for level metadata. I'm going to name this DA for data asset and then menu map. Let's duplicate that and create DA underscore third person map. Let's open up the menu map data asset. And we're just going to select some example images for the thumbnail and loading screen. The thumbnail will show up in the save game list and the loading screen, of course, when we're loading into the menu. Down here, under text, we can define what kind of text might be used throughout the menu. For example, this will be the title in the loading screen and the text at the bottom below it. That should be it for our menu map. Let's open up the third person map data asset as well. And we're just going to enter the name here. And under text, we're just going to type third person map, and this is our third person map. I'm actually just going to reuse the images from Moontown. hang on, let's make sure we actually have a smaller image for the thumbnail. Yeah, that should be it. Now let's open up the config and make sure our level metadata is actually used by Menu System Pro. So let's close all this, and under level metadata let's add a new entry, and this has to be the precise name of our map and then the data asset that we just created. So if you change the name of your levels, you also need to make sure you go back to this config and change the name in here. Let's hit play and test this. And now we can see in the loading screen the image that we set shows up and the text. But we still can't move our character. So let's open up the character in our level. This is the default third person character that we have in this template project. And for comparison, we're going to open up our character under Blueprints Player. And as you can see, it has a lot of nodes, but all you really need is the very beginning if you want to continue using your character as it was. So let's make sure we copy and paste that over. And now I'm going to switch to the menu map. And from the main menu, I will launch into a new game. So let's hit new game. And now we can move around as if Menu System Pro was never in our project. The character should already work just like it used to. Now, the second option, if you really want to make use of all the functions we have on the event graph, is to just copy and paste everything. So I'm just going to select everything here, copy it, and then paste it into our character. Now we can just select do nothing for all of this, and we will have some red wires showing up, but we're just going to fix them one by one. The in-game example UI class, let's create a variable for that, compile, and that should get rid of one error. While we are on this example UI class, we can select the example UI. Now this is purely for example's sake, so you can select your own UI class there if you want to. Down here, for the camera, we have to set the follow camera, and the VoIP talker. Like this whole function is only needed for voice chat and multiplayer, so if you're a single player game you can just delete this entire event, but I'm just going to add a VoIP talker component, and that should get rid of the error for us. So okay, so next up we're going to refresh all nodes, and now all the errors should be gone. Let's hit play and try this out. We're going to create a new game again, load into our level, and we're now using the Menu System Pro example character. This character can sprint, so if you hold shift you should be able to run a bit faster. It can of course jump, and if you hit P you can open up the pause menu, and we can now go back into the main menu and see if that works. That is the menu level that we set earlier. So if you load into the wrong level when you do this, you have set the wrong menu level in your config. And this concludes our integration into an existing project. If you still have any questions, make sure you read through the documentation we link on the marketplace. And if you still have any issues after that, just join our Discord and we'll be happy to help you and get you started with your project. I'm Lukas, and this was the integration guide for Menu System Pro. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one.